South Africa's unemployment stands at a shocking 29%, and this means around 6.7 million people in the country are unemployed. And according to statistics, South Africa, the youth accounts for the majority of that figure. As the economy reels from the impact of the coronavirus pandemic and the lockdown, these rates are expected to worsen and already are. But some academics believe there's a glimmer of hope. To tell us what should be done, I'm joined by Professor Lauren Graham from the Centre for Social Development in Africa at the University of Johannesburg. Lauren, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I wanted to talk to you specifically about one bit of research that you and your colleague Layla Patel have done. When you've looked at these youth employability programs, now the ones that you that form part of your research are organizations that we here at eNCA have spoken to often because of their expertise in the field of supporting the youth in their battle against unemployment. And between 2013 and 2019, you've gone and tracked the movements of around 2,000 young people who participated in these youth employability programs, many of whom we know very well. Tell us more about the study and how you went about it.
Great, thanks so much for the opportunity. Yes, so we looked at a context in which we have already high youth unemployment rates. As you say, we're likely to see those grow. And rather than looking at what are the problems, we looked at what are the solutions. And one of the interventions has been a wide range of what we call youth employability programs. Many of these are run by civil society organizations, but also private sector and the state, to look at what effect are they having on young people's employment trajectories. So we tracked young people who went through these youth employment programs. We assessed them as they came into the programs, as they left the programs, and twice in the 2 years following their completion of the programs to see what their employment trajectories were. And what we see is that there are a combination of programmatic features that do seem to play a role in young people having better outcomes. Most importantly, we see that programs that include what we call matching, which is where the program brings the young person into contact with an employer, a potential employer, have the most success. And we see that young people who go through those kinds of programs have an employment advantage of about 28 percentage points.
Now, in these conversations that we've had around South Africa's youth unemployment issue, one of the more worrying statistics has been the amount of young people who have eventually just given up looking for work. How key are these youth employability programs in stemming that very negative tide?
Absolutely. It's been a very worrying trend over the past decade to see how many young people in those first couple of years of looking for work already give up looking for work and become discouraged. And what we find in these programs is that we see improved rates of discouragement. What that means is we see discouragement rates declining over time. And we hypothesize that these programs give young people a sense of resilience, that they build on young people's already positive sense of agency, and they provide that connection point that improves their resilience, their job search resilience. So we do see that following participation in the program, even though some of them are not finding work, they continue to look for work. They employ more strategies to look for work and more effective strategies to look for work, and they continue doing that. And they find that the support networks that they create during that process through peers and the people who are running the programs, a very supportive mechanism for them.
Now, that resilience is one thing, but it's just one of many soft skills that's very, very important. Do you think that there's enough emphasis on the need for soft skills to be developed, especially amongst young people who are at that very important age of looking for their first decent job?
I think it's a very under-researched area and something that we don't take seriously enough. We call them soft skills, but they are actually really crucial skills. So here we're talking about young people's sense of initiative, taking control of their lives, confidence, leadership skills, ability to work in a team. We know that those are skills that are going to be important in the labor market going forward, particularly in a gig economy where young people have to be adaptable. But what's really exciting in this study is that we found that being exposed to soft skills training closes the labour market disadvantage for some of the most disadvantaged in the labour market. Those include young people who haven't completed matric and those young people who are living outside of metropolitan areas in, for instance, rural areas. We find that labour market disadvantage is closed to some extent if they're exposed to soft skills training.
Fascinating stuff. Thank you so much. That's all we have time for today. Professor Lauren Graham is from the Centre for Social Development in Africa at the University of Johannesburg. Thank you so much for your time. If you want to read up more about the research done by Professor Graham as well as Professor Leila Patel, you can go onto the Conversation website, an article there giving us a snapshot of that research looking at the impact of youth employability programs. And in fact, we need even more of the positive impact that those programs have had on our unemployed youth especially.